Okay, we're gonna do a really juicy hip mobility class today, but we're gonna begin with some spinal segmentation. If you have access to your kitchen sink, I would recommend setting yourself up with your hands on your kitchen sink, pulling back like this. Now for filming today, I don't have that, but the exercise is the same. It's good old cat and cow, but the traction is gonna be awesome if you have access to your sink while you're watching this class. If not, just try it sometime anyway. So you can see I just moved right into starting to segment my spine a little bit. My knees are bent. As you're doing this, you want to start thinking about your tailbone first, tucking, rounding your lumbar spine as much as possible before you get to your thoracic spine. For me, my thoracic spine likes to take over, so I really have to focus on the lumbar. Then untucking, lifting your tailbone, dropping your belly button, little bit by little bit, coming up to the thoracic spine. Once you're in full extension, let's pause here. Chin tucks a little bit so you're not overextending your neck. Squeeze the stuff on your back to try to create even more extension. And now let's reverse. Start tucking your tailbone under, little bit by little bit, moving through your lumbar spine. Stay extended in the top of your back as you curl your low back into the roundest version of yourself you can. Super, super round. Feels so good. And pause here. And now try to crunch even more. Pull your pubic bone in towards your collarbone as much as you can. Have a really long back. Try to fill out your back. Feel your abs working here. Maybe take an exhale. Really squeeze in. Let's reverse. Oh, I gave myself an ab cramp. I should probably do that more often. Lifting your tailbone, dropping your belly button, moving to your mid back, trying to go piece by piece as best as you can. Not easy to move segmentally through your spine, coming up between your shoulder blades, keeping your chin a little bit tucked because we don't really need this to go into your neck. Pausing, and let's squeeze our extension. Get as much extension as you can. Really see if you can cramp up the stuff on the top of your back now. And then let's reverse. Tailbone tucks, low back rounds, stretching that lumbar. Sometimes it's nice to slightly rotate your rib cage for all this spinal segmentation stuff. I've been finding I really like that just because my low back gets a little sore when I go straight, and this little rotation helps a lot. That's an option. Coming all the way into flexion, and now squeezing flexion. Seeing if we can get those ab cramps going. So good. Let's take a pause from there and come down to the ground. Okay, now we're going to start working on our hips. I just wanted you to be very aware of what's going on with your lumbar spine because your spine will tend to compensate for your hips. So as we're doing these exercises, watch out for your low back moving, okay? We're going to start in a wide-legged, I don't know, I was going to say bear sit. I don't remember if that's the right word or not. Let's call it that. Hands can be behind you, or you can be sitting up like this. It's up to you. I'm going to go hands behind me here. Again, paying attention to what's happening with your low back for this exercise. Heels are down on the ground. Knees can be unbent or bent up, whatever feels best for you. I'm going to go kind of about 90 degrees. Checking in with my spine, pulling my knees back as much as possible. So I'm using the stuff on the outside of my hips. It's quite worky. Keep your left leg pulled back and down as much as you can. Slowly start to rotate your right knee in and down. Go slowly. Imagine you're pulling an elastic band with that knee. Doesn't really want to go. You're pulling down, you're pulling down. Probably getting crampy here. That's okay. Keep going if you want. Pause if you prefer. And then rotate it back out. So we're greasing up our hip rotation here. Pulling now the left knee in. The right knee is pulling back and down hard here too. You're working the whole way. Knee rolls in. And then back out again. It's amazing how crampy those outer hips get, hey? Let's do 2 more on each leg here. So knee rolls in. Try to kiss the ground with your knee, even if that'll never happen. And then knee rolls out again. Left knee rolls in as the right knee stays glued to its imaginary glue. Don't let this be from your spine. Keep your spine neutral. Oof. 1 more each side. Spine is neutral. Left knee is pulling away from the front of the room. Right knee pulls that imaginary elastic band down towards the floor. Goes as low as it can go. Breathe through the cramping if you're finding it happening, or just don't go as deep. All the way back up. Thinking about your spine, making sure your low back is not moving as you rotate now your left knee, pulling that imaginary elastic all the way back and up. That was so good. We are now going to move into a little bit of a 90-90 transition. So 90-90 is front leg forward in a 90-degree knee bend, back leg also 90-degree knee bend. You can have your hands on the ground for this if you like, or hands behind you. So whatever makes sense. You could also have a yoga block to hold on to if you would like. The idea here is very similar to the last one. You're going to be using the intention of gluing your right knee down to the ground as you start to pull your left knee away from the ground. Keep your belly button as still as possible for as long as possible, and eventually allow it to start pulling you back into that bear sit position. Try to keep your spine neutral and let this be about your hips doing the work. So now you've got to let your right knee lift up. Your left knee is still pulling down. Right knee follows. You're in 90-90 on the other side. Let's reverse. So now right knee starts to pull up. Left knee is glued. Pull that elastic band with the right knee. When the right knee cannot go any further, it's allowed to start pulling your belly button towards center. It's allowed to start pulling your left knee up, but your left knee is fighting this the whole way. Right knee travels downwards, and left knee slowly follows. It's fighting its own war with its own elastic band. Whew. Let's do one more round of that. So now the right knee is totally glued. Left knee is pulling back and up. It's working the whole time here. So take your brain into your hip joint, into your knee, and imagine you're pulling heavy elastic bands the whole way. When your left knee cannot go any further, you're going to start to allow your weight to shift on your pelvis. You're going to travel onto both sit bones. Your right knee will slowly resist the way up. Your left knee starts to come towards the ground. Your right knee is now pulling its imaginary elastic band until it comes all the way down. And then we're going to reverse one more time. So left knee is glued. Maybe you want to show off and you can have your hands up for this. That will tend to make it harder. Pulling that right knee back. Left knee stays glued. When you can't go any further, let the right knee win. It's fighting the left knee the whole way. Keep going. Right knee comes down. Left knee travels all the way down to the ground, but it's working to get there as well. Okay, now we're going to do some kinetic stretching to finish off. So kinetic stretching is going to look like passive stretching, but it's the opposite. So we'd like to start with a prep. So the prep for this will be to try to lift your front leg up off the ground. It might not go anywhere, but imagine you could lift your front foot up off the ground, not just the front knee, but try to lift the front foot. Feel the stuff on the inside of your leg working. That's the same stuff we're going to use for this stretch. So for this stretch, I want you to think about the stuff on the front of your leg, the stuff on your lower belly, working to pull your upper body towards your front knee. Pull, 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 pull. So you're not letting gravity do this. You're getting that stuff that you just used to lift your leg to pull your upper body forward, however much it'll go. So try to keep your back fairly neutral here as well. It's about pulling your pelvis towards your leg, not your shoulders. Pause at the bottom, and now you're going to reverse. You're going to press your right knee into the ground. Feel it like you're imprinting that whole right leg into the ground, and then use that push to push yourself up to straight. Let's do about 5 of those. So inside stuff on the leg starts to work. Pull your upper body down towards that front knee. Let your tailbone lift. Try not to round the upper back. You can use your hands on the floor or on blocks for some support, pulling with the stuff on the inside of your leg, pressing yourself up to where you came from. So you're really trying to make this about the work of your leg, pulling yourself down. When you're down, you're going to hold for a second. You're going to reverse the push. So now you're pressing into the ground, but you're not moving yet. And then you're going to push yourself all the way up. It should be a ton of work on the outside of that right leg. And now you're going to pull yourself down, reverse. Feel that inner thigh, belly stuff all the way down, tailbones lifting. Feel the work, feel the work, feel the work. Holding here, and now reverse. Feel that press first. Oh, I'm shaking. And then pushing all the way up. That's enough of that. Let's do a really quick transition. So like before, pulling your left knee before you let your right knee follow. All the way over until you're in 90-90 on the other side. Oh, this is so juicy for the hips. Okay, so remembering that sense of lifting. So we're going to start with that lift prep. Hands behind you, hands on blocks, wherever you like. Think about keeping your spine still, pelvis still. Lift your front leg up off the ground. Notionally, it's basically not possible. Feel that inner thigh stuff. Try to lift your foot. Do your absolute best to lift that whole leg up, not just the knee. Relax that down. That's what we're going to use now to pull our body forward. Feel that turn on. Try to lift the leg, but use that lifting sense to pull your body down. Inner thigh, hip flexors, all the way. Hands can be on the ground. Pause here, reverse. Press that leg into the ground. Before you start pushing yourself up, feel that imprint of your leg, and then push yourself with that leg. Make your body very heavy as you push. You want to work here. Let's reverse, pulling your body down with the stuff on the inside of your leg, or keep thinking about pulling that foot up off the mat. See if you could unglue the foot. See if your spine can stay fairly neutral here. No rib lifting necessary. Just try not to use your lower back to create this movement. Now hold, press into the ground without moving. Really press. I want your knee to weigh 9,000 pounds. Now push your very heavy body back up in space. Beautiful. Let's do, I think it's 3 more. Get the stuff on your inner leg working. Pull your body towards that inner leg. Pause at the bottom. And now pressing down. All the way back up. Now leg pulls your body towards it. Can you get a little further now that we've done a bunch of them? Pause, press your outer leg into the ground. You can reach your hands in front of you to make this a little harder if you want. And press down. Oh my goodness, so good. And then reverse one more time, pulling your upper body down. And then pressing slowly, effortfully back up. Let's finish with one more transition so you're back to where we started. Pulling the top leg up without ungluing the bottom leg. I guess that's the right leg and the left leg, sorry. Pull that right leg, left leg stays glued, eventually following all the way through and over. Whew. Okay, so hopefully your hips feel wonderful now. Hang tight because there's a part 2 of this class coming where we're going to add some strengthening to really get into those hip tissues that we've just mobilized. So this is great on its own, but it'll be a great combination with part 2. Okay, see ya.